The Nintendo eShop, as usual, has a massive sale on right now, and today I have 15 of my favourite deals under $10 or your regional equivalent covering the US, Canada, UK, EU and Australia. My name's Alex, this is SwitchCorner, and if you do enjoy this video, subscribe, it helps out the channel a huge amount. Now also then, do remember to drop a comment down below for your chance to win a $10 eShop gift card in next week's video. We do this every single week, and we also have our last week's winner coming up later in this video. Now just quickly a heads up, bit of a weird week in the sense a lot of the US and Canadian games, they are not on offer in the UK, EU or Australia, so I'm going to be bouncing back and forth where I can. For me, I'd say the US Canadian side of things is a little stronger, but I do think we got some good picks in here for both. Alwa's Legacy then to kick the week off, and it's here with a new low price, 60% off. It is worth noting this is a sequel, and while you don't really need experience with the first Awakening that is, I do recommend that entry as well, and that is also on sale right now. Now this game, it's an action platformer with a ton of puzzles in the world, but think old school side-scrolling goodness. Where it goes above and beyond, however, is the fact you get the freedom just to go where you please, and there's a ton of character upgrades in here as well, which makes it really unique. Now it can be challenging as a warning here, but I do think it's always fair, so yeah, give it some consideration. It's often, in my opinion, unfairly overlooked. Soundfall then is a unique one, a dungeon crawler that combines looter-shooter action with, rhythm-based gameplay. Now I did review it on the channel, going to be linking that down below, but my opinion was mostly positive. Now the concept is simple, take down waves of enemies while overcoming different stages, and on this journey you're going to be finding new weapons, new playable characters, and you'll tackle a story of you getting sucked into a musical world that you must save. It is really as simple as shooting on the beat for maximum damage here, but it's actually more challenging than you may expect. The only thing I didn't like personally, locations pack multiple levels, they can be a little overlong, and this leads to some, burnout visually, with many of the levels being a little too similar. Now to overcome this, I tended to stick to free play mode, which actually allows you to jump around as you please. 80% off then here is a new low price. Lonely Mountains Downhill then is a personal favourite, and right now we got a 72% discount, which is a new low price. Now you will find my review in the pinned comment for this one, but just talk about an addictive formula. The game is actually simple as well. First of all, you just got to tackle a number of mountains to get from the top to the bottom, but each features different challenges, and eventually you'll find the game asking you to achieve this without a single crash, which is just particularly challenging. The controls, as a warning, they will take some getting used to, but there's actually two options, and I would advise here, experiment with them, and eventually you'll actually recognize just how intuitive they are to use. Now I'm a big fan of the game, have been for a long time, and there's DLC available as well. Flynn, Son of Crimson then is a 2D action platformer, and this one is a gem. You'll play as Flynn alongside his mythical ally, and you're on a quest to save your homeland. Why is this? It's under attack or threat from an evil force that historically was actually kept at bay by this magical barrier, but that force is fading and you must now save the day. You'll do this by mastering different moves, both standard and magical, and you'll also be collecting up these different relics. Overall, I really like this one. The controls feel great. I love the visual style. There's a nice amount of variety in all of its mechanics, and yeah, just generally it all really worked for me. 60% off here is a new low price. Curse to Golf gets a new low price then, 65% off. Definitely a strange concept that worked this one, a roguelike golf experience. Now it's far from realistic though, if that is a concern for you. Rather, it's side-scrolling, and it finds you battling through limbo to come back to life after you were struck down by lightning on the golf course. The gameplay is just incredibly challenging though here, as you navigate a series of complex holes and experiment with different upgrades and unique balls, such as those that can split into multiple or those that even explode. Now on launch, it had a crash bug which rendered the game unplayable following the first boss, but that's since been patched, so if you see reviews mentioning that, do not worry, the game is now in perfect working order. The Wild at Heart is a game I picked up after launch, and the Switch feels like the perfect home for it. In fact, with this game I spent most of my time in handheld play. There's just something about that clean and charming visual style that just makes this feel so I guess, right for me. I'd describe it as an open world puzzle game, and the basic idea here is herd these creatures and leverage them to assist in all sorts of activities such as building up a location or heading into battle. Yes, it's almost kind of got this, I guess, Pikmin vibe at times, and the story is simple enough but rewarding. You're looking for a missing friend. The best bit of the game, though, has to be all of the collectibles. Something I don't normally personally chase, but this one absolutely got me. I'd suggest watch a few reviews, make sure it's for you, but 60% off here is a new low price. Mighty Goose is up next, and if you want solid run and gun action, this is a game you go for. It's also matching the low price right now with 60% off. Loved everything about this game, the chunky pixels, the tank-based moments where you can cause absolute mayhem, and the narrative that has you chasing an evil that is destroying the universe, and you are basically flying from planet to planet. Really hope this game gets a sequel personally, and a highlight has to be the upgrade chips as well as the different weapons. It is a gem of a game that I've mentioned more than a few times here on the channel, and that is with good reason. Cathedral will be for those who want a challenge, and this one it's going to frequently destroy you. Now if you do get frustrated easily, skip to the next game in the video because I promise this one just won't be good for your health. Now if you are sticking around to hear more, it's very much emulating the 8-bit era and doing a fantastic job of it, from the vibrant visuals to the fact it's got a ton of enemies coming at you from every single direction. Now I did find controls wise the movement and the platforming took some getting used to, but the world is sizable, the bosses are entertaining, the chiptune soundtrack is a winner, and the story looks sure it's minor, but it does enough tasking you with taking out a guard. I like this enough to pick up a physical copy personally, and it's 60% off, which I do think is a steal. It's a massive game as well of this one, the average completion right around 20 hours. Just a quick reminder then, they didn't sponsor this video, but Fixture, my favourite Switch accessory, sponsored a Saturday's video, and they were kind enough to give those watching $10 off any order over $20 with code SwitchCorner at checkout. Now that is still live right now, and what I didn't realise was they actually had a sale on already, and this discount, it stacks on top of that, so I wanted to give it another shout out today. They're also going to be giving away a free SwitchCorner skin with purchases, which is definitely a nice touch, and yeah, I personally swear by this thing. It is the only way I play handheld, and yeah, it's all linked below if you do want to check it out. Honestly, just a fantastic little deal, and I'm not getting a kickback or anything here. This is simply pure support for a product I love. Nuts is 80% off, then a new low price. I'm going to say it immediately. If you watch my review, you will see this game has problems. In fact, one of the last levels has some really poor frame rate issues. However, if you do like a narrative adventure, this one is unique, and it still ended up winning me over. Now the concept is simple enough. You're working for a research agency and you're tasked with tracking squirrels. You do this by placing a series of cameras around a forest and then following up at night. However, by the end game, you're going to be visiting a number of locations. The story gets a little wild, and I love that almost low poly multicolored visual style. Again, watch my review with this one, but as I said, I really did enjoy the 4 or so hour story and gameplay style. Wintermoor Tactics Club then is 75% off, matching the low price, but it's been over a year since we've seen this price. Now I was a fan of this game, a unique mix of adventure, tactical strategy, RPG and board game influences. I don't even know where to start, honestly. Basically, you attend a college and you are part of multiple clubs, namely a tabletop, almost Warhammer-esque club, and that's the tactical element. But between these moments, you'll actually explore the school, meet friends, and take part in this weird snowball fight tournament that your school decided was a good idea. This basically allows us to leverage our strategy skills, and yeah, strange game, but definitely good fun. Now, I will admit it has a few issues with load times, but with 7 characters to play as, unlockable upgrades, and an interesting story filled with pop culture, I do think it is a win. Die Again then is my pickup of the week, meaning not a recommendation, rather maybe you'll want to join me for the ride. Can't remember if I mentioned this a few weeks back as I picked it up pre-relocation, but I've still not got around to playing it, so I'm actually going to be taking it on over the next few days or week, and hopefully I will have a review up next week on the channel. I'm finally kind of sorted out on my end, and I'm ready to get back to that daily content. Now the gameplay here, a top-down shooter that holds similarities to games like Hotline Miami, but the unique spin here is if you die, you can move into another character's body if they are within a certain, vicinity of you. I like the sound of that, some strategy in if, health is low, let them take you out and transfer, and yeah, I'm really curious to see how it all comes together. Now, if you've played it, let me know in the comments, as I've seen zero coverage for this game personally. But yeah, 17% off here is a new low price, and it's only the second sale the game has ever had because it only came out last month. Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate then gets a new low price in the UK, EU and Australia. In the US and Canada you can get just the base game, but I would hold off as we've seen this version with DLC historically cheaper. Of course we've got the new entry as well, but this is cheap as chips, and if you just want some fighting action, I do think it is worth a look. Now I will admit, far from the prettiest game out there, but I think the core action is solid and it remains intact. What impresses the most though for me, the huge roster that includes I guess almost Hollywood characters such as Rambo, and the impressively detailed story mode. I am a fan of the series, and transparently Switch wouldn't be my first choice on where I would want to play it, but if it is the only option for you, then I would say take a look. Right now then, it's 85% off. Our winner of the week then is going to Mega Al, who was thinking about picking up Ease in the Arcade Crew games. Now I don't think you can go wrong with any of them personally. Congrats on the win though, Al. Email me for the code, and everyone else, drop a comment down below for your chance in next week's video. Boy the Bastards then gets 70% off and matching the low price, and this is one of the few reviews I'd say in hindsight I got wrong. The game has frame rate wobbles, and I think I let that impact the score for me too much because the game is a gem, and actually once I wrapped up the video I found myself coming back, and that really is a rare, I guess, circumstance. Now a sequel's been announced as well. I'm really excited to see what they've got in store for us. The gameplay though, a roguelike first-person shooter where you are on a prison ship that breaks down in space and now you must look for help. Where it gets unique though, it's the fact each run has you navigating a star chart and you must visit locations to manage health and food, and should you die it's back to the beginning and you're going to be playing as a different characters. They are using the different criminals for these runs, and these characters then as well, everything from some are short to others that are tall. One for me had vision in black and white, and another particularly painful one screamed every time they found loot. Look, sure, some of the voice acting is grating honestly, but I had an absolute blast. Slay the Spire then is 66% off, and look, now we have actually historically seen this game $1 cheaper, but that was like 2 years ago, and let's face it, this game is worth more than full price. Arguably, it's the best roguelike deck builder out there. It definitely will be for many, and it is high on my list personally. For those that have played it, show it some love in the comments, but I know more than a few people with over 100 hours invested, and I'm going to be linking to my top deck builders video in the comments below as well. However, here's a hint, it's actually not quite my number one personally. That may surprise many. The gameplay though, I mean, look, as the title says, climb this spire and attempt to reach the top by building out different decks, where it wins multiple difficulties to overcome, a ton of cards to uncover, a lovely little visual style, and look, yeah, if you like the genre, there is no question it should be in your collection for sure. UNSIGHTED then is our final game, and I think this game is a masterpiece personally, and with 60% off, it's a new low price and a steal. It's an action RPG, and I just think it has so much going for it. Fun gameplay, great combat, stunning visuals, and a really interesting story. Now the concept, we take on the role of Alwa, an automaton who awakens to a world in ruins following a war. Now we discover the resources that powers our life, it's running out, and our friends and I guess peers, they're turning into killing machines, so we must get to the bottom of it. What makes it so unique while you explore this world of Arcadia, it's going to be a constant countdown to when people return, and we can save or ignore them. It's also got fantastic combat, as I said, just padding it all out, and it even features a boss rush mode, a dungeon raid mode, and co-op support. This game is an absolute gem. And that's the video down, and as I said, a bit all over the place with only a few of the deals covering every region, but hopefully I found something for everyone, as I do think it's a really strong batch of discounts. A shout out then to the patrons and the channel members who are going above and beyond to support SwitchCorner. That helps more than you know, so thank you all so much. Then hit subscribe, join us here for reviews, deals, news and lists daily, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.